Kanye are now pushing in, and is this the time? Ungers needs to get on the attack dance. I mean, he has 70 vills. He's so far at an eco. Put some vills on the attack dance, and this will be even better. He's not switching. He's on XP. The cab is going down. It's getting melted by the buildings here. The longbows are still standing and doing damage.
Does he have enough steam though? I think
There's not
Julian
enough
is running
steam,
out.
though. Yeah.
Ethan Bowman, 1.5 fire rate once again, coming up, Trump being king here, and just even though
drag boxing the Naginatas forward, the Coyotes are trying to move, and the Atoman, he drag boxed the wrong direction, and now the Atomans are getting snared by
Oh my
goodness.
are shredding this right now, and it doesn't look like he's has
11s.
I don't see any of the pikes. Where's the pikes on this fight? The Nagis are just cleaning this entire map up. Coyotes are falling. You got the Ashes getting buffed by the Dino. They've got Ashy attacking. They're absolutely shredding everything here. Yumi don't even need to micro this at this point.
He's going to have to sack off his Ruskets. He has to come in melee here.
Yes.
I don't think he can continue keep microing. Well, he's going to try, wait for reinforcements and try to make it to his blockhouses. The question is, how much damage will he going to be taking? This is nice micro from Ungers, but you know, the Atontons just have to attack move here. And 1.5 fire rate, they do have staff animation. And the Tontons are absolutely insane. But he has drawn him into the double blockhouse. Now fighting under the double blockhouse. The question is it going to be
Skits are a little behind here. The Cossacks are now getting snared by the Pumas and the Coyotes. The Explorer is now in with the triple XP tech. Some warriors are mixing. The Atoans doing absolutely insane amount of damage. He's on plus 36%. Look at him on the attack. That's a plus 36%. And he's just
Coyotes on the Strelets.
Blockhouses are actually doing decent damage here. The Coyotes are kind of going down. The Spears are now trying to move in towards the front, and it's actually a decent fight, I think, for Tabin.
Pretty good fight for Tabin, but you know, there's not very many Cossacks. He's letting a lot of these Coyotes and Pumas kind of shred his Strelets a bit. Finally getting his Cossacks where they want to be on the slingers, and gonna be cleaning up.
Here, the ESOCs are out of position. The Carolinians as well, and the ESOCs are gonna go up top. Oh, the tree carrying here. The tree is for Sweden, and there you go. We can see some damage here. The ESOCs, all the ESOCs are dead. That's quite a lot of mass. The ESOCs coming back from fair rate. Nah, GG. Optimus, his mass is getting completely clean. With the ESOCs, that's gonna be a big snare right there, and there is no way those Carolinians are gonna come out alive.
Maybe should be able to swing this water fight. Yeah, it's so the micro here is so intense. Get in, get back in. Will the Yumi have a chance to snipe him? Look at the ship is at 62 HP.
Oh! Frontline, what a god!
Oh no!
Oh my god! Oh my gosh, it was insane, and that's GG. Wow, those galleys have such low HP.
He's gonna need to take trades here, and he's taking really good trades. The Kanye are now pushing in, and is this the time?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another casted series. Oh boy, am I excited for this one. What I've been hearing, this is an absolute banger. So I'm here with the one and only Baron today. He's going to be my producer. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a solo cast, so sadly for all you guys, the only voice we're going to be hearing today is mine. Grab your drinks, grab your popcorn, this best of 7 series. And the last series of the round of 32, by the way, is going to start soon. And this is to wrap up the qualifying round, if I'm not mistaken. The last 16 is already set. We already have our matchups. Your boy Big Shake obviously made it through to the main bracket as well, to the tournament. I'm so excited about that, so stoked. So yeah, let's just check the ESOC community homepage 1 second, and let's look at the tournament if they've already updated the brackets. Not as of yet. So we don't have the matchups right now yet for the round of 16. But yeah, I think the round of 32 was very entertaining, very fun. We had some close series. Kevin and Lion. Mini Soldiers was an awesome series, probably series of the tournament so far. We had Carbonans at this, which was really, really fun. Um, yeah, we had my series. Wasn't as close, but on my end, I definitely enjoyed it. I had fun. But yeah, my voice a bit higher. Yeah, that's on Baron. I think you should just tell Baron to up the voice. Me neither. So let me try just talking closer to the mic. There we go. I was just sitting back a bit. All right. So, from what I'm seeing, we've already got the matchups for the first game. If Baron could just screen share to me, that would be so awesome. So grateful to him. There we go, big boy. And yeah, we're going to have a Spain versus Japan game as our first game of this round of 32 best of 7. So I'd suggest we jump right into it. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not lose any time, not waste any time, and just get into this full awesomeness. Do we have a map intro for this map? I assume we do, right, Baron? All right, so let's get right.
The Great Plains is a broad extense of flat land that stretches through much of western North America. It is home to large herds of bison and a trade route with 3 trading post sites. Players will want to control the center of the map for its abundant food, but be aware that wood and coin are more prevalent along the map's edges.
Three, two, one, go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this round of 32 best of 7 for the ESOC Spring Championship, hosted by ESOC TV. Being played on this beautiful, beautiful map of Great Plains is game 1 between these two absolute titans, Rohbrot and Grogu, better known as Alvaro's, the best Latin American player we currently have in the game. He represents all of Latin America right now, hating from Peru in the north side of the map, in the color red, playing as the Japanese, opening up with the market. And on the south side of the map, in the color blue, we have one of my favorite players, one of my best friends, my absolute homie, probably the best Spain player in the game, Rohbrot, playing as the Spanish, going with the strongest Civ in a blind pick scenario in game 1 is really, really interesting. And let's just follow his Explorer as we talk about this matchup. We see he already opened up with the TP. He just got a 30 XP treasure as well. Life's looking good for him. Great Plains isn't a very treasure heavy map. And as I say that, he just happens to stumble across the best treasure on the map. One of the best stage 1 treasures in the game. 110 food guarded by 1 bandit rider and 2 coyotes. Very easy to get for any explorer in the game, regardless of civ. So Rohbrot must be so happy about that. He's just gonna take that, probably that 30 XP treasure before his crack shot refreshes itself, and then he's gonna pounce on that 110 food. Gonna allow him to age up early. Shipping capitalism as his second card. Always lovely for Spain when capitalism comes in before the 2 minutes. That's always just an awesome feeling. Means that your XP is good. If we look over at Japan, right now he has split his explorers very nice. Let's look at his scouting pattern. Let's look at his line of sight. 1 second. Let's see how much he's been able to get done. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2 minutes into the game, and 75% of the map has already been discovered. His cherry orchard is already doing work as well. And oof, he was a couple of seconds late to try and contest that treasure. But Rohbrot eventually gets the 110 food, which means that he is going to have a very comfortable 15 villager age up if we switch back over to Rohbrot. Let's see what he's going to be aging up with. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Idolist 15 age up at 245 click up. Beautiful. Spain loves that. We are going to inevitably be aging up with the tower and crates of 200 coin. Couple of villagers right now on wood. I'm expecting to see a couple of more villagers on wood later on from Rohbrot as well. From what I know him and his playstyle, he really isn't a big fan of adding a second TP. He's more for the market, you know, that classic good old market macro. Now, while we're transitioning, let's see what Japan is aging up with. He's going to be aging up with. Is that the Heavenly Kami or the Torii Gates? Okay, there we go. I thought maybe it's the Shogun Shrine, but I thought he wanted to give up the game already, but no. My man is aging up with the Torii Gates for the early samurai, putting a lot of villagers on there. As we can see, what is that? 4 or 5 villagers on, even more, 8 villagers. Wow, so we're getting an 8 villager Torii age up. That is extremely quick. He wants to deny any possibility of a forward tower with that, and I do understand him. As long as you have the resources to be able to continuously make builds in transition, it is good and even advised for the Tad Civ and to age up with as many villagers as possible on their wonder. And there we go, barracks coming out, samurai coming out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to cast this game for you. This don't we have a wonderful game, a wonderful community. I'm just so stoked for this series. So barracks going in base, samurai going forward. If we're going to look over to the Spanish base really quickly, let's see what he is going to go for. He is going to ship the 700 point early on. Now Rohbrot has seen the early age up. Does he still opt to go forward? Does he still risk it and say, you know what, your samurai doesn't scare me. I've got an explorer. He can make dogs. I'm getting hunting dogs. And I'm shipping coin right now to age up. And yet, there we go. The dog is already fighting the samurai. Tower is going to back up. Explorer is going to be shooting at the samurai as much as possible. Let's just zoom out a bit. Let's see where that tower is going to be placed eventually. He's going to wait with that tower. So what his explorer is going to do is he's going to train dogs very nicely. He only trained 2 dogs. He didn't overmake dogs. And he's still going to be placing that tower forward. He's not going to be scared of the Ashies. Now, he's not going to be placing it too far forward as to where a supporting 5 batch of Ashies is going to come, because as we can see, if we switch over to the Japanese side, the Ashies are already on their way, if I'm not mistaken, already being trained from the barracks. There we go. Oh, no Ashies as of right now. Okay. So Grogu isn't really trying to take down that forward tower as of yet, which is quite surprising to me because with that delay on the tower, he might have even gotten a hit or two of, of that tower building. So I'm very, very confused as to why he didn't. But nevertheless, tower doesn't go up all that forward. And I've had this conversation with a couple of players, and we've come to the conclusion that this matchup really isn't as bad as long as Japan can deny forward tower from um, from Spain. Now, Rohbrot is eyeing up this villager treasure right now. As you can see, he is going to be aging up with probably the scout, which will give him the 4. Oh no, he's going to age up with the adventure. Okay, so we're going to see a crossbow age up for Rohbrot here. I mean, that makes sense against Japan. You know, Ashigarus, they're musketeers. You want to be able to counter these musketeers quite efficiently. Hazars don't really do that. They're more of a snaring unit, but oh, what are we seeing here? We're seeing the Japanese explorer actually coming near this treasure and almost thinking about maybe sniping it, but no, Rohbrot is here. And if we can just zoom in on that, poor coyote just got stuck there in that native TP and couldn't actually attack or fight. And that's why Rohbrot couldn't even pick up that treasure. But now he has picked it up. An extra villager, very nice for the Spanish momentum. You know, every little bit of eco helps when you're doing this Rohbrot FF build. And we have shipped the 7 rods rather than the 5 bills. And I don't hate it, and I'll tell you why. Because he's eyeing up this big XP treasure. And I would argue that early on, especially in this matchup, you're not going to out-eco Japan at any point. So if you can out-tempo Japan and pick up this XP treasure, it's not the end of the world. But if that XP treasure is somehow going to get sniped, then Rohbrot is in a world of trouble. Very nice batch coming out. So we're going to have a shipment ready for the next stage as well. So we're going to be able to ship our 5 Lancers or our 2 Falconets ASAP. Rohbrot must be loving life right now. This build is looking very crisp, very smooth. We've already got hunting dogs. There we go. We are in H3. And we are shipping the Falconets as soon as possible. And look at the mass we've already got. We've got 8 crossbows. We've got 5 musketeers, 7 ordoleros, 2 dogs, an explorer, 5 more musketeers coming out. Veterancy on the musketeers coming in as well. And I'm almost certain we're going to see a shipment of Lancers followed up. And there we go. Let's see what Japan is doing. Japan has actually managed to age up to the next age. He said, you know what, Rohbrot, if you're going to age and if you're going to ship Falconets, I'm going to follow you up. I'm going to age with the Shogunate. And I'm going to ship Flaming Arrows to try and hold your push. Flaming Arrows, a very good anti-2 Falconet shipment. But what concerns me here for Japan is that his eco isn't really bustling. This isn't really a Japanese eco that you're used to. We've barely got any shrines out on the field. Excuse me, not torps. Different civ, big shake. We've got 80 pop of shrines right here, and we've only got 4 Ashigaros defending everything. So this is very, very questionable right here, the build in mind for Grogu, and we can see it reflected in the score right now. Rohbrot, a solid 2.1k ahead, sieging that barracks ASAP, spotting those flaming arrows. Let's see if he's going to send the dogs after those flaming arrows to try and do some damage on them, try and maybe get a kill so he can advance up with his falconets and try and finish off these flaming arrows with the falconets. But no, dogs do commit. They managed to connect on one of the flaming arrows, actually taking quite a healthy chunk of HP off of it, but eventually they didn't manage to do all that much. Lancers are in now, and now Rohbrot knows, okay, this is my cue. Now I'm going to go in. There is no way Japan has any sort of military to hold the Lancers, the Falconets, the Musketeers, the crossbows. And he is being right, because he took down his barracks, and barracks is frantically being rebuilt in the back end. Ooh, missed shots by the flaming arrows right here, and the Falconets are going to be able to unpack and right-click the flaming arrows. There we go. One of the flaming arrows already going down. Second one almost going down. He's going to be finishing it off with the Musketeers. Falconet now in danger of getting killed by the Minutemen, but the flaming arrows have been dealt with here. Very nice round, I must say, for Grogu. Much better trades for him, but Falconet still alive, eventually being punched down by the Vills. Daimyo as well snaring this army. Crossbows are being focused down by the villagers, and they're also focusing the villagers down themselves, so there's still a lot of Ashigarus in the back doing damage, but, you know, best unit of the Spanish composition here are the War Dogs, and the War Dogs are just not dying. They don't get hard countered by any unit out on the field. That's one. That's two villagers going down. That's a third villager that's going to go down over here before he manages to go into the TC. All the Ashigaru Musketeers are down. Explorer is going to go down. More dogs coming out from the Spanish Explorer before he goes down. So that's another 4 dogs trained. 4 Lancers on the way as well to keep on the pressure in the Japanese base. Rohbrot wants to stay here because he knows the H3 Japan deck. He saw it. He knows that Japan doesn't really have anything to counter him or pressure him all that much, except for these 2 flaming arrow shipments that can do a lot of damage to his infantry mass. But the Lancers are on their way, so he doesn't really fear that all that much anymore. Lancers connecting with the Ashigarus in melee, trying to kill as many Lancers as they possibly can. But Rohbrot doing a very good job trying to micro down these Ashigarus before they manage to do all that much damage to the Lancers, and then clean them up together with that. A lot of villagers not gathering, punching down units here, punching down dogs. They do actually have multipliers against pets, the more you know, fun fact. And yeah, the entire Japanese eco is being built up right now, and Spain behind this is going to be shipping 1,000 wood. Knowing Rohbrot, that's not going to mean TCs, that's going to mean an artillery foundry, and that's going to be market trading for an extra falconet. Another Vil being chased down here by the Musketeers. Very nice kill there and pick up for Rohbrot. Rohbrot on 23 villagers right now, and if we switch over to the Japanese perspective, Japan on 21 villagers and 80 shrine pop. So again, eco-wise, Rohbrot is kind of leading with the capitalism, and just purely because of the fact that Rohbrot was able to gather that entire time while the Japanese villagers were built up in the TC. So yeah, all in all, I would say nice hold by Grogu. The game's not over, but Rohbrot definitely has an advantage here. But he has to press his advantage because the Japanese economy is going to be scaling way quicker. Oh, what do we see here? Stable going down for Rohbrot. Let's switch over to the Spanish point of view real quick. Yes, steel traps coming in. We're seeing a stable coming in. Still 475 wood in the bank. Let's see what he's going to spend that on. Are we seeing anything forward? Are we seeing anything near the outpost maybe being built? No. So that 475 wood is still in base right now. I'm expecting a Spanish gold shipment. Okay, we've seen another building go down. That's 200 wood, that 400 wood actually that you used up on stuff. So that's a church. And what else is Rohbrot building here that he spent all that wood on? Don't tell me he sold wood to finish his Lancer batch. Yes, he did. Big boy Rohbrot just sold 400 wood to finish a Lancer batch. Don't you love this guy? I adore him. You guys can say inefficiency, whatever you want. To me, he's a master of timings, and he knows that no resources matter. They don't stand in the way of timing pushes, and more often than not, he's right. Timing matters more than most, especially when you're playing Spain. So, you know what? Good on you. If selling 400 wood means you're gonna win the game, then let the haters cry. We see the composition for Spain is looking very healthy right here. A lot of musketeers, a lot of dogs coming in, 12 pikes being shipped right now as well, and we've got a 5 Lancer batch being trained from these stables. The wall has been rebuilt for Japan though, which is really nice for him. The Lancers aren't going to be able to collapse on the infantry as quickly and as soon. Let's see what's going on in the Spanish base quickly before we're going to engage here in this fight. It's just an explorer raid, so let's just go back to the fight. Lancers are going to find their way in. Now, the negative for Japan here is that he's already used both of his Minutemen batches, so he isn't going to be able to call up his Minutemen to help him out in this fight. The sentries, the pike sentries, would be so useful here, and the Lancer manages to collapse all over these Yumis. He's doing so much work against these Yumis. Ashigarus are not killing the Lancers fast enough. Dogs in the mix as well. So hard to try and focus down any cavalry from Spain when the dogs are there, because they tank just so much and you can't ignore them because they'll actually do a lot of damage against your unit. They're just a little slightly worse version of the cyborgs from China, but they're so useful in a lot of these fights. There we go. Japanese army is being chased down right now, and Rohbrot is doing an exceptional job of constantly training dogs from his explorer. It's like he's got an extra military building just walking around with him. Pikes now being caught out by the Yumi, but again, they've got the dogs in support. And with the dogs in support, these Pikes don't really have to be scared. They just have to snare and fight the Yumi for as long as possible so that the dogs can connect and actually do the real damage in behind. Dogs on the north as well, connecting on an Ashigaru together with the explorer, taking down that Ashigaru. And look at this, one dog zoning off about 6 Yumis over there. More dogs are going that way, zoning off all of these Yumis so that the musketeers and the pikemen can keep on sieging this PC and fighting the Ashigarus or any reinforcing units that are coming in for Japan right now. And there we go. Just as that, the full-on relentless pressure from Rohbrot is going to win him the game, and he is going to be taking game 1 of this best of 7 series with his main Civ Spain. Very, very well played. Let's take a look at the post-game statistics. As you can see, all resources gathered. Yes, Grogu played Japan a very eco-heavy focus Civ, but you can't really enjoy your economy if your villagers aren't gathering. And Rohbrot managed to just put that pressure on. We can see he kept on losing trades cost efficiently, but it didn't matter as long as he knew that he was putting on pressure, and he just choked Grogu out in that game. Didn't let him remass, didn't let the reinforcing shipments and units really connect to the main army ever almost. And timing and pressure just wins you games, especially with a civ like Spain. So I'm very happy we can start off this series with a masterclass from Big Boy Rohbrot. Oof, that was a very fun first game. You know, this series is I know it's been near and dear to Rohbrot's heart because the last time they've played was when Rohbrot came back from a very, very long break off the game, and that was when Grogu was really, really in the prime of his career. Playing wise, he was playing phenomenal. He was just off a 3-0 victory against Kanisi. I think it was in 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. It was the winter or spring championships as well. And Grogu actually clean swept Rohbrot. Didn't let him take a game in their series when they played. So I know Rohbrot is going to be very, very aggressive and give it his all to try and beat Grogu this time around to mitigate that. Now, we do have the next matchup. We have France versus Aztec on Ivory Coast. Now, that's a very interesting pick from Grogu there. Normally, you would like to keep Aztec for more of those non-TP maps because you can do the 10 Warrior Priest Boom, which is currently the meta for Aztec. And, you know, anyways, you're not going to be able to rush France with their CDBs. So, yeah, exciting to see what he's going to do. I think I have an idea of what Rohbrot wants to do on this map. You know, all the natives over there, Jesuits, the Akans, they're very, very strong natives. France is also known as a civ that knows how to use natives quite well. So I'm excited to see how that game is going to go down. And I'll say, yeah, let's not waste any time and let's hop right into the next game if Big Boy Baron is ready to showcase that game.
The Great Plains is a
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game 2 of this best of 7 series hosted by ESOC for the ESOC Spring Championships 2025. And on the west side of the map, in the color red, we are going to be having Grogu, aka Alvaro, playing as the Aztecs. Best Latin American player currently on the left side of the map. Um, he really represents Latin America quite well. Um, Goes far in tournaments, but he is on the back foot right now this series. 1-0 down to Rohbrot. Another excellent performer when it comes to tournaments. A lot of players like to sleep on Rohbrot. They used to call him the worst top 10 player ever. And I always said, bullshit. Rohbrot is an awesome player. He just plays differently. And it shows off in tournaments. He has reached an ESOC final recently as well. Narrowly lost 5-4 to EZAT. Rohbrot is definitely a player no one wants to encounter in a tournament setting. And on the east side of the map, in the color blue, we have Seth Rohbrot playing as the French. As I said, this map is full of natives. Look at this beautiful macro, not even over chopping a single wood there, exactly at 100. And we are going to see a house being built. I'm a very big fan of this. Guys, don't listen to all the propaganda. 1210 is not for every map. If you don't have any big food treasures or any livestock on that specific map, do not 1210. It's just not worth it. You are always better for going for a 1320, and in some cases even 1420 is better than a very long idle time on a 1210. So let's look at Rohbrot's map really quickly after he picked up that very nice 75 XP treasure. Rohbrot's map, not map, excuse me, deck. Sorry, Baron. Rohbrot's deck, Napoleon guns. Okay, very interesting. So this is looking like a Nat deck. We've got Wilderness Warfare, Native Warrior Combat, Team French Artillery Combat. Yeah, Native Warriors. We've got so many upgrade cards for natives over here. France is really a civ that can synergize its gameplay with natives. And on the other side, if we're going to look at Grogu's deck, Grogu is going to probably do the Warrior Priest Boom. There we go, 1v1 T, Terra, probably. He's not going to contest water. He knows that France is not going to go for water. So this is looking like a very H3-oriented deck. And he does interestingly have the 3 trading posts in H2. Now, France's Explorer is going to get snared almost by the Aztec Explorer there on the south side of the map, but he does manage to get away. France is one of those Explorers that can just so easily get away as long as his scout is anywhere near the area. You just can pull trick him, and, you know, it's very hard to kill a French Explorer in it. Now, all right. Excuse me, I was just reading a message over there. Grogu now going for this very big 85 food treasure. Rohbrot aging up, by the way, with a 1420. He's probably going to be aging up with the quartermasters. There we go. Quartermaster age up is coming in for Rohbrot. Now the messenger age up is going to come in for Grogu, and look at how fast this is. And he's already macroed enough food. He needs 400 food to get the Jaguar big button. Jaguar big button coming in right now, and I can already predict where these Jaguars are going to go. These Jaguars are going to go straight to that TP on the south side of the map. They're going to try and take down that TP ASAP before France can do anything about it, before they can react. And yeah, that's kind of what makes Aztec so strong nowadays. Those 4 Jaguars being able to put pressure so hard, just being able to deny every forward base, letting in Warrior Priest almost for free. Like, the only ways you can really deny or try and deny or punish the Warrior Priest Boom is by doing a timing push, either must cost or by raiding them as much as possible. But it isn't really possible to place down a forward base against the Civ because of those 4 Jaguar Prowler Knights that also get promoted since a couple of patches ago, which is a very questionable buff by the devs. But yeah, just makes Aztec that much better. Now, we can see Rohbrot now going for hunting dogs, quite a late hunting dogs and placer mines. For Rohbrot, not macroing for steel traps, as we can see so far. But he is grabbing the native trading post over here, the Jesuits. He's going to be able to train them sooner rather than later. We are seeing 4 Vills coming in for him as well. And yeah, look at how fast that trading post is going down. With every swing of these Force Jags, there's like, what, 100, maybe more, going down. There we go, 36 siege per Jaguar Knight. That means that we are having a combined 146, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not stupid. Wait, 6 multiplied to 4 is 24. So 144, excuse me, siege per swing of these 4 combined. That is kind of insane. But yeah, if we can switch over to Rohbrot's perspective, let's see his side of the map. Let's see what he's going for right now. He is already training the Jesuits. He is shipping native treaties this quickly, so he hasn't taken the Akan yet. but he's already shipping native treaties. He wants as many conquistadors as early as possible out on the field. I do understand that you want to do as much damage as possible. You want to raid. Now, one of the negative downsides to these conquistadors is that they actually have a ranged multiplier negative against villagers. So they only do 9 damage per shot to villagers, and villagers, if I'm not mistaken, they have 10% range resist as well. So that gets lowered to around about 8. Oh no, they have melee resist. Oh my god, I'm so bad at this game. My god. Zero game knowledge from your caster today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to Barrett for these things out. But anyways, Jesuits are going to be able to catch these 4 Jaguars, and he can kite this for days. He's got a 7 or 7.25 speed unit that can just outrun these Jaguars. They can never actually turn around and fight. Native treaties has been already sent. Yes. Ooh, but a Taunton Slinger's coming out over here for Grogu. That is going to definitely ward off these Dragoons that Rohbrot has made. And yeah, he's got to back off, and he's trying to build this Akan native, but I don't know if it's going to get built because the slingers are very much imposing their will out on the map right now, taking down another conquistador and denying that native TP for France. 8 crossbows is going to be Rohbrot's reaction. He really wants to go for these natives, and he doesn't want to be denied. 5 villagers coming out for Grogu right now, a couple of autonomous while being trained, and some Pluma Spearmen in the back as well. Scores right now looking, kind of even, considering that Aztec is, actually, no, not kind of even, sorry, I can't really see the frames properly on your screen, Big Boy Baron. So I thought that was 80, but it was 60 apparently, so let's see. Okay, there we go, 8,400 to 8,400. Scores are pretty close, as I said before. I wasn't wrong. And yeah, these warrior priests, let's see the amount. We've got 7 warrior priests out right now. Villagers dancing with the warrior priests, but at this point he doesn't really have to. He can just leave these warrior priests to dance by themselves. And I won't be surprised if we're going to see an age up after this 6 what comes in. But we already have an engagement out here on the field. We are seeing these Jaguars and Pumas trying to connect on the Jesuits. They don't really manage to. Crossbows are focusing down these Tauntons with the Akans. Aztec Explorer tanking so much damage before he goes down, but now the Jesuits can just go in on these Autontons and do so much area damage. Autontons very low HP unit, 1.5 rate of fire. They're basically just a better Strellet, aren't they? Especially early on, they're so useful. But in lower numbers, these Dragoons can't just basically right click them, especially with their area of effect attack in H2. That is so good for them. And yeah, Grogu is having a very tough time trying to micro all of this down, and Rohbrot kind of hitting him with a timing attack and forcing Grogu to make more units, not really allowing Grogu to go into any age up. Wilderness warfare coming in behind this, more Akans being trained, and more conquistadors being trained on the back of this as well. France is looking very aggressive right here, and this is Rohbrot's playstyle. He's going to hit you with a timing attack, and he's going to make you work for it. He's going to make you try and out micro him. And yeah, these conquistadors in the back are now going to try and find any idle villagers. There we go. They are finding some stragglers in the back, trying to take down a couple of vills here. Tauntons going to catch them, but look at how long it's taking for these Tauntons to actually try and kill one of these villagers. Rohbrot, very weird decision making, putting his conquistadors that have an area of effect attack and range in melee actually. But behind that, the Akans and the crossbows are fighting warriors as well, which is not very cost effective for Rohbrot. Yes, it is giving him quite a lot of XP because he gets 10 XP per kill there, but still, it's units that come in for free basically against units that cost resources. So it's not always the best fight. Native warrior combat coming in right now. Can we see the stats of one of these Akans, please? 205 HP on these Akans with 19 attack and the 1 area of effect. If we're gonna look over now, it's 230 and 21. These are basically vet musks in HP with an area of effect attack. And if we're looking at the Jesuits right now, the Jesuit stats are buffed to hell as well. Jesuits on 244 HP, 20 attack, 1 area of effect. His entire army almost has an area of effect attack, which is so vital because it doesn't really matter if at this point Grogu is going to make the counter unit to the unit that that Rohbrot is making. Every single unit that he has will attack multiple units at the same time while fighting. So eventually, after every fight, the units of Aztec are just going to lose more and more HP, and he won't be able to engage anymore. Very, very nice build so far from Robot. He's already got so many native cards in 28 CDBs. If we look over to Aztec, Aztec currently is on 30 villagers, and I assume already on 10 warrior priests. 6 Puma Spearmen being shipped and more Puma Spearmen being made. I don't know if that's the right decision because we've barely got any melee cav. Yes, Robot is shipping the 3 house right now, but you don't really want to overmake melee infantry here. Especially when you can just get kited by both of these area of effect units. And this is just enough for Robot to try and go in again. If he would fight this right now, he would crush this Aztec army, especially before these 6 Pumas arrived. But the 6 Puma do arrive right now. Very, very nice housing right here for Grogu with the line of sight, seeing everything that is coming from the south side of the map. Autontons are going to get a couple of free shots off on the Hussars, but they don't really do all that much damage to the Hussars. After that recent patch where they nerfed skirmishers attack on Hussars. Basically, they nerfed units that aren't supposed to counter other units' attacks on other units. So skirmishers do less to hand cavalry or heavy cavalry than they used to before. They just have a negative multiplier now. More Jesuits being trained from Robot, and we're seeing the young guard coming in from the church. So we've actually missed this, but a church card is going to be coming in for Robot, and he's going to get a couple of grenadiers here. Let's see the stats of these grenadiers. There we go. Edict of Nantes is coming in. Young guards, 240 HP, 50% range resist, 19 bombard attack with a 3 every area of effect, and even a 28 hand attack. So you can't really melee them down with any unit that isn't the shock infantry or cavalry. So if infantry get in melee against them, they're just going to absolutely get wrecked. And yeah, this entire army is basically area of effect damage except for the explorer and those 3 hussars right now. So regardless of what fight is going to go on, Grogu is going to have to absolutely micro the hell out of this fight to try and even get a chance of sniffing a victory in any nearby fights in the future. This is basically an H3 unit composition right now out for France. And we are seeing a commit right now. Hussars going in, killing a couple of coyotes. Autontons are trying their best to focus down the skirms in behind. Pumas are getting on top of both the skirms and the hussars right now. But look at how fast they're just going down to the Akan fire and to the grenadier fire. Barely any Jesuits have gone down. A lot of villagers also suffering from that area of effect damage. And look at these grenadiers throwing their grenades on the Autontons and on the villagers. Puma Spearmen just flying in the air everywhere, not even managing to connect, maybe getting a swing or 2 off before they just meet their end, going to meet Quetzalcoatl, the Aztec gods. And again, Grogu trying to tank with villagers, but villagers are going to go down. Like, you can't just tank with them because you've got area of effect units that are going to take multiple villagers down at the same time. These units aren't going to be just focusing one villager. They're going to be focusing the entire batch that's going over there. And Aztec is already down to 21 villagers. Regardless of the end of this fight, Aztec manages to somehow hold this, yes, with the Autontons in the back especially, and the entire French army is down. But you can't tell me that was a bad fight for Rohbrot, because we went down from 32 to around about 18 villagers here. And all of these units were native units. Now 700 coin is going to come in for Rohbrot, and he's on 32 CDBs and going to age up. Yes, Aztec is on 10 warrior priests, but 32 CDBs is nothing to scoff at, especially now that Rohbrot has managed to remass a bit and is going to finish a couple of batches. There we go. Very smart by Rohbrot. He knows the coin is far away from arriving still. He knows he will get the 300 coin necessary for him to go for an age up before, after he's trained all of these. He's even going to train up a priest to heal these very, very strong and actually quite expensive units right now. So, yeah, very, 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 very good play by Rohbrot so far. Going very smooth for him. Akan's so strong right now. CDB is well buffed, so you can't really fight near CDB anymore. They're on 279 HP. They've got 10 attack. I don't even think he's upgraded either Greatcoats or blunderbuss from the market. If you can just check out the French market right now and see if he's upgraded any of those. Ooh, we can't really see it. We're gonna have to know from the top of our head, and sadly I don't know villagers like that by the top of my head, so I can't really tell you. But they don't have blunderbuss, my dear producer Baron is saying right now. So yeah, they can get even stronger than what they currently are. So France is looking like a very, very dominant positioning here. Aging up, I assume he's going to be aging up. Fast to the next stage. There we go. Exile Prince coming in. Priest is going to heal up a lot of these units as well. And if we're going to switch over to Grogu's perspective, I don't think he's going to age up yet. There we go. He's going to ship the 3 trading post Travas. He thinks that this is going to be an extended H2 fight because he's seen Rohbrot remass a bit. But little does he know, Rohbrot is way up to the next age, probably going to be shipping his Falconets, already profiting on the south side of the map all of these resources. He knows he can bring his bills to wherever he likes, and the Aztec units won't be able to do anything about it or contest any of these resources because these CDBs are just so strong in and by themselves, especially supported by an army. Falconets halfway through arriving already. A couple more CDBs in queue as well for Rohbrot. I would like to see him fix his macro just a little bit. I think there's just a little bit too much on food. But then again, he's in such a commanding leading position, taking a more than 4k score lead right now. I don't think this game can go south anymore for Rohbrot. Grogu, seeing that Rohbrot has aged up, wants to avoid the veteran C-Techs coming in for the natives. Wants to push right now, take down the Akan before the Akans manage to get in their upgrade. Let's see if the Akans already managed to get their veterancy upgrades. They did. Elite Akans 272 HP, 26 range attack with a 1 area of effect. Conquistadors probably also have their veterancy status already. There we go. Veteran Conquistadors 288 with 25 with 1 area of effect. Very nice drag box of these Falconets right here, trying to get them as fast as possible onto the front lines to deny that trading post from going down. Big shots from the Falconets there. Akans as well with their area of effect, and the Conquistadors. Look at how quickly these fountains are just dropping like flies, going down to every single unit in France's composition right now has area of effect. This is completely crazy by Rohbrot right here, taking such a commanding lead. And there's nothing Aztec can do. Middle guard coming in as well from the church right now, which are even better than the young guard. Look at this. 22 ranged attack with 4 area of effect, ladies and gentlemen. That's the icing on the cake of this composition. 4 area of effect. How are you ever going to counter this as H2 Aztec right now? Dancing to get his warrior, his explorer back. He needs him in the fight to tank as much as possible, but I'm afraid that even if he will have him continuously in the fight without even dying for the next 5 minutes, he still won't be able to win this fight. Falconets taking some good shots on these Autontons. Another very big volley. Warriors coming in, but as soon as they come in, they're dealt with. These Falconets are just doing so much mayhem right now. Rohbrot just needs to focus these warrior priests right now on the pit, not allow them to dance any further. And very nicely, Rohbrot is trying to kill the warrior pit as well. And look at how quickly these warrior priests that are relatively high HP units have gone down, trying to drag the villagers in as well for the big last final fight. Pumas are in a very bad position because they're facing the Akans. Akans have a nice melee attack, especially with the old guards next to them and all of that area of effect going in. I have said area of effect more than I have said my name in my life this game so far. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but it is what it is. When you see area of effect, you call it out. Beautiful game by Rohbrot. Very nice control of the natives together with the old and middle guard. Exciting game by him. And he takes a very commanding 2-0 lead in this series so far. Congratulations. Look at these fights, ladies and gentlemen. We can't really look at military unit population because natives don't give you pop. So if we're going to look over to unit count, he just wins every fight so dominantly. Only that middle fight, he somehow managed to not win so dominantly. But in the meanwhile, in the process, if we're going to look over at the villager population count, he has taken out what? Look at this. He has taken out 16 villagers in that fight. So I would say that's a worthwhile trade for him. All right. Very, very nice. I'm going to ask Baron, what do you think? Can we take an ad break right now in between games so they won't pop up during the games? There we go. So we're going to run a quick outbreak, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be right back. Not sure. Is it working? Do we have any ads? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to have any ads. The ads are going to randomly pop up. The ad does what the ad wants. So I suggest we just hop right into the next game. Let's see what the matchups are going to be for game 3. I'm very happy seeing how prepared Rohbrot is for most of these maps right now. He knows exactly what he's going to pick. It almost feels as if regardless what Grogu is going to be picking, he knows what he would pick. And it feels like Grogu kind of isn't prepared for the maps. Questionable Japan pick. You don't really pick that in a blind pick situation. You kind of use it to try and counter other civs. Also, kind of questionable going for the Aztec pick on a TP map. But are my eyes deceiving me? Is Rohbrot going to be playing India and Grogu going to be playing Brit, or is it the other way around? Okay, that's what I thought. I got worried there for a second. I was like, whoa, that's not. I know. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's go into the map video here really quickly, and then we will jump into the game right away.
Painted Desert is a lonely open range with scattered mesas and rich ore deposits. Hunting is plentiful, but wood is a little scarcer than normal. Lost cows can also be found wandering among the mesas. A string of 4 Apache and Navajo villages divides the map into 2 symmetrical halves.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game 3 of Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game 3 of this best of 7 series hosted by ESOC for the ESOC Spring Championships. And on the north side of the map, we have Rohbrot playing as the British in the color blue. The British Empire rule Britannia. Britannia rules the waves. But sadly, on Painted Desert, we have no waves. This is a land map, a non-TP map, where there is a lot of livestock on the map. Up for grabs for both players. He opts to start off with 2 manors next to each other. And on the south side of the map, we have the Latin American expert gamer, expert AoE3 player, Grogu, aka Alvaro, hailing from Peru, playing as the Indians. Now, this is such a classic matchup, ladies and gentlemen. India versus Brit is a hotly debated matchup, actually. Often said that this is a very 50-50 matchup. I am the opinion. All right, we're back. Everything okay? Can I continue my yap session? There we go. All right, so a very hotly debated matchup right now, as we will follow one of the explorers to see Indian explorers probably being able to take more cows on the map. More cows is going to mean more XP for India, which they desperately need, especially in a scenario right here, Baron. If we can just explorers a little bit, especially in a scenario like this where there are no TPs available for the other civ. Brit isn't really a civ that is desperate for TPs, but India is desperately in need of XP. They have a negative XP penalty, but the cows mitigate that because, as for not as for other civs, you can't actually eat the cows with India, but they will give you a trickle of XP. So let's look at the Indian deck really quickly as he's shipping Distributivism as his first card. I'm interested to see. It is a very H2 heavy deck, as I've predicted. Very standard deck. We've got the Yarumi, we've got the Sea Jellies, we've got the Mahouts in H3, all there very nicely. We've also got the Dravidian Martial Arts in H2, if I'm not mistaken, which is a very underrated card when it goes to a very long H2, which this matchup usually goes to if India doesn't age up. So if we switch over to the British perspective, Roman is not going to be able to do his classic GMT that he loves doing. He is just going to be playing standard Brit. I've been trying to hype him up and tell him, listen, Robert, your Brit is very good. Try and play it standard. I know you can do it. You're a player that is very capable of doing so. I'm excited to see how he's going to do. If we can get a quick peek at his deck as well. Land, there we go. He does have a Virginia Company in deck. He has a Musketeer Grenadier upgrade in H3, British Grenadiers. So this doesn't affect Musketeers anymore. Okay, this only affects Grenadiers, and he also has a 5 Grenadier and an Artillery Foundry shipment in H3, which is really, really interesting. So, Line Grenadiers, oh, sorry, excuse me, it's just going to be allowing them to be upgraded, to be researched from the barracks as well. So, I don't know how I feel about that, or the 700 food in H2. Very iffy deck, in my opinion. But Robot is a unique player that plays in his own unique style. So we're gonna have to see how that pans out. India going for a Carney Madi. Oh no, excuse me. They're going for an in-base aggro fort. I don't like this. I don't like this all that much because as India, you really want to take map, deny Brit the ability to take map for themselves. We do see a treasure and contestation almost 80 XP going India's way. Very nicely spotted there by our producer Baron. Thank you very much for showing me this. And the Indian explorers are pull tricking each other away from the snare from the British explorer. So very nice pickup there for Grogu. Let's see how many cows Grogu has managed to pick up, and let's see if it's even worth it for him to go for a sacred field. 6 cows is quite a lot. He is opening up with a market, researching civil servants right there, which is kind of like a mini eco theory. I think it's called Imperial Bureaucracy is their eco theory, which agencies do have access to earlier than everyone because it can be researched from the market, and blanket fillers coming up after that as well. As for the British side, Brit is already aged up. Let's see where he has placed his tower. He's going to be placing his tower relatively forward. Okay, nice. So he does have map control from this position forward. He's not really protecting any natural resources, which I don't really like. I would have seen the tower. I would have liked to see the tower, excuse me, in between the other 2 native TPs in the middle so he can protect that mine and that hunt. But this is still an okay position if he plans on, putting pressure on the Indian base. Going for steel traps, going for gang saw, quite late gang saw actually. And I'm interested to see because this isn't looking like a musketeer build. Usually what I like doing is I like opening musketeers and then transitioning into musketeer longbow as Brit here, but it's looking like we're going to see more of a bow pike play here from Robot. Look at how poorly this pathing is going for these builds. Look at how long they've walked all across around that barracks to build that second racks. This feels so bad, but anyways, it is what it is. Peculiarly putting down the second racks with 700, not waiting for 600 to put it down. So yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, if my mic cuts out sporadically, I am sorry. It is a problem I'm trying to fix, but do let me know in the chat if that happens all too often. Now, if we can just move a little bit around the map, Baron, and not stay stuck on this middle part. There we go. On the south side, we are seeing sepoys being made for Grogu right here. Now going to transition into Gurkhas, shipping 300 export, putting down a consulate as well. I'm assuming he wants to go for the Ottoman consulate to get the earlier line of sight, to get the 4 villagers, the 3 Delhi, the 6 ASAP, which was nerfed from 7 before. Just a very, very solid consulate for India. And on the other side, if we just take a look back at Brits, 22 vills for India, 27 villagers for Brit right now. Double batching longbows this early in the game. He's already double batching units. We're not even minute 6:30. I don't know if he's gonna get these batches finished, but we're double batching. Relatively low manor pop, 90 manor pop right now out on the floor. We are more prioritizing the villagers right now, even after shipping both of our wood shipments. There we go. We are going to be on 100 pop right now, but we are kind of over macroing food and under macroing wood. But regardless, we still get an 8 batch out after a prior 7 batch. We do have 15 longbows. Longbows is the ultimate counter unit for India. India don't really have all that many answers for longbows if longbows have a sufficient body block. So if they have a nice mass of musketeers or hussars in front of them and longbows can just DPS from behind, they do damage against most Indian units. Pike batch coming in right now, followed up by a 700 coin shipment. What are we going to see this 700 coin shipment being used? Do we have a stable out on the floor for Rohbrot? We do not have a stable, so he's probably going to look to invest into musketeers while simultaneously still keeping up his wood production to add more manors. That is what I'm thinking his idea is going to be. 3 Delhi out on the floor raiding, going to manage to take out the Zabrits. Explorer from Rohbrot. On the south side, we are seeing the Indian explorer exploring stuff, finding a longbow, and he's actually going to kill the longbow. Indian explorers are some of the best explorers in the game. when it comes to countering light infantry. It is an absolute pain in the behind trying to take them down. So yeah, I would not want to be a longbow facing that big boy elephant right now. Um, Also taking that line of sight from that native TP is quite nice for him. Switching back over to India. India is looking to age up. He's not looking to stay in H2. Very nice macro for him right now. 28 villagers. Has researched the villagers from the Ottoman consulate by the looks of things. Aging up with the Terminar Gate. Terminar Gate is going to give him the ability to research Mansabdar units, which will buff all the units of the same type. So Mansabdar Gurkha is going to buff all the Gurkhas around it, and the Sepoy, etc., etc. They're going to buff each other, and it's also going to give him a Mahout on age up, which, as we all know, big boy elephants with their big lances do perform quite well against light infantry. Yeah, Rohbrot going to follow him up with the age up, actually. Going to go up with the adventure, which is going to give him 7 longbows. Eco not as high for Brit, but we are going to follow up with an age up quite shortly. So we're not going to get out tech. Double batching musketeers right here behind. Going to go for a very heavy infantry composition. Pikes in the back, just trying to defend against any potential Delhi raids. Very nicely positioned over there. Villagers are safe with the knowledge that these that these pikes are going to be defending them, but India is going to be up a little bit sooner, and I wonder what his first H2 shipment is going to be. Is he going to opt for the non-cost units, so like the 8 Gurkhas or the 9 Sepoys, or are we going to see an elephant shipment, whether it be the Mahouts or the Sea Jellies to try and take down the FB, or are we going to see a Urumi pop maybe? Very interesting to see. 6 Baghdadi Azeps coming out. Consulate Azeps, very good against Dragoon units, and in melee they perform very well against cavalry as well. Shipment still not coming in. There we go. We are going to see siege elephants. Siege elephants are going to be used to try and take down this forward base from Brit. Also, it will counteract any 2 Falconet play if he knows that Rohbrot is aging. He's probably anticipating something because Rohbrot still hasn't pushed his base. Longbows being queued out here for Rohbrot, and another 7 longbows are going to come up from the adventure age up. Longbows are such an awesome unit to have in your composition. Honestly, they're so amazing. In a stand and fight situation, there just isn't a better skirmisher in the game. They can't kite, they do have their negatives, but in a stand and fight, they're just so beautiful to watch how they just DPS everything down. Mahoudan explorers going forward a little bit with the Gurkhas and the Delhis trying to scout ahead for the siege elephants, and now the barrage of the Now India does what it does best. It's going to slow push into this British base, going to try and take down the barracks. This is actually really big for him because no veterans upgrades have been researched as of yet right now for Rohbrot. We also don't see any disciplined Gurkhas out on the floor, if I'm not mistaken. An engagement is going to happen right now, so he sees that these longbows are completely out of position and the Mahout is collapsing on all floors, and the Delhi's pikemen are just coming in right now. Musketeers are coming into melee, but they're coming in so late. Sepoys are also going to close the distance with the Azaps on the longbows. Just going to collapse on close distance. Sepoys absolutely hit infantry like trucks. Disciplined Mahout, still alive. Now finally going down. The forward base is also going down to the Sea Jellies. Sea Jellies not being focused by the longbows right now. Longbows are trying to focus on the Gurkhas, and the Gurkhas are kind of doing a good job against these longbows because they've been dwindled down so hard by the Indian cavalry that the longbows kind of have to retreat at this point. And India's mass is looking very scary. Mansabdar Gurkha coming in as well. 2 of the barracks have gone down. No veteran upgrades as of yet for Brit. Floating 1500 food, 300 wood, and 300 coin. Shipping 5 Hazars right now, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. There's sufficient anti-cap to at least base 5 Hazars, and there's not enough skirmishers out on the field to do anything about these Indian Gurkhas that are massing. 9 Zambrak coming in as well. Let's see if there's a stable coming down. I just heard the sound of a stable, so we're probably going to see veteran Zambraks being researched at any at a very early stage here. There we go. Veteran Zambrak is going to come in, so we are going to see a Gurkha Zam composition for India right now. And you know, Grogu is looking like he's in a very advantageous position. And are we going to see one of the first Brit losses in the tournament? I don't think we've had very many of them so far. Grogu looking like he is in a very advantageous position. 39 villagers for Brit right now, floating a lot of resources, almost looking as if he's macroing to go for H4. But it's not that, he just doesn't have the military production buildings to keep up with the resources that he's gathering. And if we switch over to the Indian side of things, look at his macro. Look at how early he's spending all of his resources. 41 bills as well. So kind of out ecoing Brit right now if you consider all the trickles. And there we go. Rohbrot realizes that he's 4K scored behind against an underscoring Civ with an overscoring Civ himself. And he calls GG after these Zambreks manage to catch these Hazars. We get a close look at the post-game stats. Rohbrot managed to outgather Grogu quite significantly, actually, by 2K still. But the Indian economy was already starting to scale at this point. Brit was running out of hunt. And look at that fight. Not being able to upgrade your units in time. Being caught by the cavalry right there, especially by that Mahou, just doing so much damage. He was honestly like an elephant in a porcelain chamber. It was that bad for these longbows. Down to 30 units. That's not enough to kill an Indian mass, and it just scaled upwards and it was snowballing, and Rohbrot didn't have any answers left for it. GG, well played to Grogu. Takes one back, makes this an interesting series. 2-1 right now. So I assume we're going to try and run an ad break right now, from what I'm understanding, if Baron can just communicate with me what is going on currently. So we cannot run the ads manually, so we need any one of the moderators in chat. There we go. All right, so for the subscribers between us, urge your friends to be like you, to be like the cool kids. Urge them to subscribe as well. Every single subscription helps us out so much. It allows us to, host future events, show matches, tournaments, and at the end of the day, this is really what keeps the pro scene and the game as a whole alive. The attraction, the knowledge the top players can get into competitions and can show off their skill case. That is very, very important for the game to be kept alive. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth game is ready for us on the map Anatolia. Let's look at the map overview really quickly and let's hop right into the fourth game of this best of 7 series.
The Anatolian Peninsula is the homeland of the Ottoman Empire. Its rugged landscape is bisected by an elongated grassy valley that separates the two players. This valley contains the only trade route and some grazing livestock. Each player begins with a local settlement of Fenarites near their first town.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fourth game of this best of 7 series hosted by ESOC TV. And on the north side of the map, spawning in the color blue, playing as the United States of America, we have the one, the only, Rohbrot. This is a very, very good map for USA with probably what is the strongest card in the game. Immigrants, Chinese immigrants, being able to take so many TPs early on is very underrated and solid for them. But on the south side of the map, his opponent is none other than the best Latin American player in the world, Grogu, aka Alvaros, playing as the Ethiopians on a very underrated map for Ethiopia as well. Why, you might ask? Because there is livestock here, and because we've got a 5-speed Explorer that will be able to take all of the cows before the US Explorer can react, because the US Explorer has to build a trading post. And as I've said before, there we go. 5 water buffaloes already going over to Grogu, excuse me, which is going to give him so many resources from his market. For those of you who don't know, Africans have a mechanic in the market that allows you to trade cattle for resources. And it loads up over time, it becomes more and more valuable, and you can trade these cattle in for more resources. Now, what is my prediction for what Grogu is going to do? I don't think he's going to use the same build as I have used. What is this? So he's actually this is very smart. So he's used the chaos effect on a treasure guardian from a different treasure to attack the treasure guardians of another treasure, and he's taking two simultaneous treasures at the same time, 40 food and 60 wood, going to go for Grogu, especially as the US Explorer is quite far away right now. There we go. Very, very nice pickup by Grogu. I didn't know that was even possible. 200 IQ play by him there. Very, very solid. If we're going to look over at the Ethiopian deck, let's see what he's going to do. He is going to see to pick his 1v1 land deck. You know, he's got everything standard in H2, in H3. He's got the Cannoneers, he's got the Neftenias, the Shotels, the Gaskenias, everything that you need to be a proper African Civ. And on the other side of the map, if we're going to look at Rohbrot side of things, when you look at his maps, Anfänger, which probably means standard deck. He has shipped immigrants into capitalism. And it looks like a musketeer heavy deck actually, because we do have the Musk upgrade in H3. We've got the 5th Massachusetts, we've got Continental Rangers as well, and we've got um, the 8 regulars that he can ship. So living up to the clan name, to our clan name, MFAL, probably we are going to see a lot of organ guns, a lot of Napoleon guns, and a lot of musketeers coming from Rohbrot. And quite frankly, any unit you want to get with USA is just going to be extremely strong. So you go for whatever you're comfortable with, and USA will adjust to you. And your opponent's not going to like any unit that you're going to pump out anyways. Quite a solid H1 from what we've seen for Ethiopia. If we can look over at what Rohbrot has been able to do in H1, if we can look at the treasure overview really quickly, there we go, 50 XP coming over in for Rohbrot right now. Sadly, I have missed a little bit. I have been yapping throughout, so I have missed a little bit of the H1 for Rohbrot, but I'm assuming that the Ethiopian one was better, seeing as we saw the treasure that he's getting. And on the north side of the map, he's getting another nice treasure for himself right now. He is getting 90 food baklava from the Ottoman Empire brought by Charles XII. Fun fact, the Karolians were named after Charles XII because they were so loyal to him. They were called the Karolinen. So Karl, the king of Sweden, they were his loyal followers, his loyal soldiers. Very badass, very awesome units. Anyways, out of the history nerds, back into the game. We are seeing a mountain monastery going up right now for Ethiopia. Ethiopia right now maybe going to look for an FF build. I don't think he's going to want to stay H2 for a very long time because he's going to age up with the Habesha. So no Sudanese age up for him. Chopping more wood to get another mountain monastery out. And as soon as he's got 150 wood, excuse me, he's going to switch over. There we go. Just 3 wood short. But I'm sure that he will notice it and he will chop this extra 3 wood before my OCD will explode and make me very, very sad for the rest of the evening. He hasn't noticed it. So he is grabbing a TP. He doesn't want Rohbrot to get all these TPs for free, especially where there is the possibility of Rohbrot actually researching Stagecoach. So yeah, very nice build so far from Rohbrot. If we can see, very standard Pennsylvania build. Barracks going up in base. 700 coin going to be followed up by the Pennsylvania Church. Now, I don't really like this. Normally, you want to get the church before you want to get the coin because you want to get the trickle. You want to be able to, you know, pop some units out if you're going to get pushed eventually. But both variations of the build are pretty good. The 700 coin is just going to give you an earlier age up. And I won't be surprised if we will see the Virginia General Assembly being shipped after we're going to see the church part being shipped. Thank God that shipment has been nerfed because it used to give 320 HP on arrival, on being built, excuse me. And if I'm not mistaken, it will cut your age of time even shorter. Chimmigrants coming in clutch right there very nicely for Rohbrot before Grogu can have the chance to build on that TP. And there's Gaskenia are going to be a little bit late, so they won't be able to take down the TP before it's built, but they are going to take a very hefty chunk off of that TP. 3,500 HP TP, so yeah, there we go. Not even a very healthy chunk, just a little bit, not even 1,000 HP. So that TP right now is basically a regular TP's worth of HP. So it's still gonna take him quite a while to try and take down this TP. 4 TPs out on the map right now for Rohbrot. If we switch over to his perspective, let's see what he's doing. Is he researching Stagecoach right now? He is shipping 700 wood, so we don't see the Virginia General Assembly, which is very interesting. We are seeing a batch of a 3 batch of regulars coming out right now. If he would just unqueue that Vil that is being queued for after the age up, he would have been able to get another one, but he probably didn't see that. You know, turn your nerves, get the best of us. So yeah, Gaskenia still sieging that TP right there. If we're looking at the macro of Ethiopia, I'm very interested to see if he is going to be thinking of an age up right now. He still isn't. Actually buying a couple of cows in the market, double batching Gaskenias, shipping villagers right here, and making a couple more Abens. Really focusing on his economy, not wanting to fall behind. I don't really agree with this because either if you're going to play H2 against a civ like USA, you really want a forward base. You really want to be as aggressive as possible. So when he pushes you eventually with artillery, you can overwhelm, surround, and kill the Gatling guns, or you're just going to FF yourself. But this in-base passive H2 play doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, especially when you know that your opponent is a very, very aggressive player and will push the issue when he is going to be required to. And it's not very easy for you to a Gatling gun push, which is an anti-infantry artillery unit with pure infantry. So yeah, let's see how this is eventually going to be panning out for Ethiopia. But if we're looking over at USA, we've already got quite a nice amount of regulars out on the field. Kentucky age up as well, so we are going to see a couple of sharpshooters. First shipment is going to be rolling artillery straight away. We've got 200 wood stacked up, so maybe we are thinking about maybe a stagecoach play coming in, or definitely veterancy, excuse me. That would make much more sense. Sharpshooters from the church are going to be researched as well, so our mass is going to grow a little bit more before these rolling artillery units arrive. First Pennsylvania rifles, excuse me, probably going to be followed up by the 54th Massachusetts Volunteers, which is going to upgrade all of his units to veterancy manually, at least his regulars and his state military, that is. And yeah, he's going to manually place that. Interesting, because I think that actually his ability to get Chimigans. Oh no, it's quite far away. Okay, so I get building that TC. You want to take down TP, excuse me. You want to take down the other middle TP, and then your Chimigans will be almost ready to come in and replace that other TP. So 54th Massachusetts is going to come in. It's going to give him, if I'm not mistaken, 5 regulars and 4 units for state militia. There we go. But yeah, big fight is going to come in. Flag has been planted down. There's not enough regulars here, I feel, to really stop us around from the Gaskenia and the shuttles. Very, very nice micro so far by Ro. When cannoneers have been absolutely mown down, focused down by these Gatling guns. Look at how much value he's been able to get out. One more Gatling gun still alive, taking a big chunk of HP out of these units right there. 54th Massachusetts came right on these regulars, and they're absolutely in units, and we've got one cannoneer and one Gaskenia left, and they're both going down, while the entire Ethiopian mass has just completely been evaporated. And yes, USA lost his 3 Gatling guns, but he's shipping 2 in behind, and he's still got his entire infantry remaining. This has been an absolutely phenomenal trade for. What a cleanup! Oh, wow. Wow, what a cleanup for Rohbrot. Chimigrants coming in right on time, going to replace that Ethiopian TP with his own. Very, very nice for Rohbrot. He's got all the momentum and tempo in the world right now, with that rolling artillery coming in, with those 8 regulars to follow up as well. His army is kind of looking unkillable, especially for an H2 composition. And if we're looking over to Ethiopia's side, what we see from Grogu right now, Grogu isn't going to be anywhere near aging from the looks of things. He's going to be shipping Gaskenia damage. Now that's weird because you've only got 10 Gaskenias on the floor. I see you're macroing for a little bit more, but if we're looking a little bit up more north, okay, that's 1 villager already going down. Yeah, there we go. 3 villagers simultaneously going down for Ethiopia. I don't know what these villagers have been doing. They're so far away from trying to hurt some herds, trying to eat, trying to enjoy the very nice ibex on the map of Anatolia. Rohbrot accidentally blaring something on the north side of the map. Regardless, anyways, rolling artillery is already near his army. There we go. Accompanied by 5 regulars. Also, Frontiersmen is coming in, which is kind of the US and Mexico version of Great Coats. It also gives you boosted attack, so it's like Blunderbuss and Great Coats in one upgrade. Rohbrot scouting the north side of the map, seeing if any straggling villager left, but he is satisfied that nothing is there, so he's just going to continue his march south. And Rohbrot is looking like he's got an unkillable mass, and Grogu doesn't seem to have the answers right now. USA taking a 4K score lead right now. Very, very nice. By the way, Togs, very nice of you. Thank you that you are pointing out the mic issues. I'm trying to look at the green circle around my name to make sure that I don't break up anymore. I think I just have to adjust my voice manually so my mic doesn't add up. Um, yeah, she's on her period, so don't mind her. But yeah, going in is USA right now with this very big mass of Gatling guns and regulars and a couple of state militia and sharpshooters in the mix as well, going to take down all of these Ethiopian houses, which are all punched up very nice together for Rohbrot to just right click, right? And he is gladly going to try and house his opponent and take all of that XP. In the meanwhile, we are seeing a Pulaski's Legion shipment coming in. Wow, these Ulans, if they manage to connect on that Ethiopian army and just snare and allow the Gatling guns and regulars to get in range, and he can really clean up the Ethiopian mass for once and for all. Regulars getting a very nice raid on these villagers, continuously taking the houses down. TP being sieged by the Ethiopian army. Is he trying to go for somewhat of a base trade? I don't know what he's doing right here, revealing his army and just putting them in the middle of the map rather than trying to defend his base. But again, Rohbrot making the right decision, just staying in the Ethiopian base, taking as much of the infrastructure down. He's not really losing anything. And these Ulans are going to be able to find two villagers on the south side of the map as well, near the Ethiopian sea. And Grogu has had enough. He doesn't want to see any more poor innocent Ethiopian villagers succumbing to German Ulans, and he calls it quits. GG Rohbrot, well played. Let's look at the post-game stats over here. Look at this villager population. Big 4-vill raid, followed up by another 2-vill raid over there by Rohbrot. But what I really want to see is the military unit population. Yes, Ethiopia outgathers on a livestock map, but it doesn't matter if you get completely pummeled in a big fight. And look at that. We lost 30 units in under 20 seconds there. Very, very nice fight by Rohbrot. 55 units down to 20. Wow, wow, wow. In a couple of seconds, and Rohbrot himself only lost 4 units in that entire fight. So that was like, what, 1 regular and 3 Gatlings that went down there. That's such a good trade for Rohbrot and just put him so far ahead, and he never looked back from that point in the game. And Rohbrot taking a very, very, very commanding 3-1 series lead. Just guys, tell me in the chat, is the mic better right now? Is it buffering less? Can you hear me properly this time around? Yeah, so I'm hearing that sadly game 5 has gone out of sync, so we won't be able to cast that game. So we should just tell you the result of game 5. So what was the revolt? What were the civs? So game 5 result was Rohbrot played as the Ottomans against Grogu's Dutch, and Grogu keeps himself in the series, keeps himself alive, and wins that matchup. Series is now at 3-2 for Rohbrot. Rohbrot still on match point, but Grogu very, very much still alive and in the series. So ladies and gentlemen, our apologies for that. There's not really much we can do. The game is the game. It OOSs quite a lot. I should know. I had a nickname called Shake 2020 OOS back in the day. So yeah. We are going to jump right into game 6, ladies and gentlemen. 3-2 is the current score, so we are going to be on the beautiful map of Manchuria. Do we have a map introduction for that map as well, Baron? Or do we...
Manchuria's open land separates China from Russia. Although the region is dry and barren, its position along the coast presents interesting opportunities for an economy based on fishing and trade. Yaks are also found here and should be actively contested by the players. The trade route can be found either behind the players' bases or along the mountains in the west.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 6 of this Best of 7 series. What a series we are having so far. Match point for Rohbrot still on the map of Manchuria. Not a lot of hunts on this. Very nice water, very nice teepees on the left side, and livestock. And on the north side of the map, we have Grogu in the color red playing as the Hausa. Now, Hausa is another African civ that really loves their yaks and loves their livestock. So every time there's a livestock map, you know, pro players, very good players, are going to look at the possibilities of picking the African civs, especially if they know how to play them properly, or even if they have just a single build for them. It's still a consideration, and I'm happy to see that Grogu has gone for it, because Hausa is just absolutely phenomenal on livestock maps. And on the south side of the map, his opponent today in the color blue is the German menace, the absolute legend, Rohbrot, playing as the Mexican. Now, Baja, which is one of the best builds for Mexico nowadays, especially with the density of high TP maps on the ladder currently. Baja is one of the best strats out there. Very, very lame, but it is banned for this tournament. The admins had us, the players, vote on it, and I personally voted that I wanted to see it banned. I don't think you guys would have enjoyed seeing it. So yeah, it is banned right now. So Rohbrot will not have the option to go for Baja. Very nice treasure picked up for Rohbrot so far. 50 food, going for a 13, maybe a 14, 20. Shipping the 2 villagers and the hacienda, probably wanting to put that hacienda a little bit forward to be able to pressure the House of player. On the other end, let's see how many yaks Grogu has managed to pick up so far. 7 yaks. 7 yaks for Grogu. This is looking so beautiful for him. Look at that market. That market is looking beefy as hell. They can open an Argentinian steak restaurant right there and then, and everyone would love it. All of these yaks for Hausa, they're not going to run out of yaks until at least minute 13, 14 at this rate. And they're going to be profiting from it. Not to mention, Hausa, contrary to Ethiopia, actually gets their Sangha cattle on every age up. So they rarely ever even run out of livestock. To even get more is just phenomenal for them. Now we are seeing the hacienda going up forward. 70 wood going to be picked up here for Rohbrot, while 75 wood going to be picked up for the House of player for Grogu. Grogu aging up right now. Let's see what he's aging up with. He's aging up with the Songhai, so he is going to have access to the big button that will refresh, and every time it refreshes, it will give you the ability to spawn 5 raiders. Which is the first level melee cap for Hausa. Another yak being picked off there very nicely for Rohbrot. And let's see what Rohbrot is aging with. Probably with Michoacan on a water map. There we go. Michoacan age up coming in for Rohbrot. And I'm excited to see what Revolt is going to go for, because from what I know from Rohbrot, he isn't really a player that likes his standard Mexico gameplay. He is a Revolt enjoyer, and I'm predicting a Central America Revolt with the fishing boats later on to add extra economy with I think it's called the Salvadorian coffee trade, if I'm not mistaken, which also gives you a lot of villagers once you've already revolted and shipped more carts. So Hausa building a university right now in base. Very good. That is the build that you go for usually, and then you want to ship the Palace of Amina, which will give you a Palace of Amina, which will give you a castle or a palace. I don't even know what's it called. There we go, a palace wagon and 300 influence, which will allow you then in turn to press that Songhai big button and get a couple of Songhais out pairing it with a couple of Songhai, with a couple of raiders from the barracks as well. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you just have 10 cavalry running around the map, burning stuff, raiding villagers, and just being a complete menace. 700 coin coming in from Rohbrot. A lot of food right now. So is Rohbrot maybe looking to go for an FF? Are we going to see some Rio Grande gameplay here from Rohbrot? That could be very, very interesting because we haven't seen a Rio Grande, especially after the nerf. We haven't seen it all too often. Now going for this coin treasure here. So he isn't gathering any more coin because he's fully expecting to grab this treasure. But Grogu says, not if I can have a word about this. My man, I want to take that treasure from you as well. But very, very, very nice treasure micro here from Rohbrot. Focusing the Hausa Explorer before focusing the treasure. Trying to get the rhythm off of Grogu. Grogu probably hovering over that. Not understanding why Rohbrot is not shooting that animal dead, taking so much XP off the Hausa Explorer, and now he's actually going to take the Hausa Explorer down. But from Hausa right now, what we're seeing, Songhai coming in. He is also researching the African version of steel traps, the snares very nicely, and training a couple of javelin riders with Fulani archers. So he's going to try and go for that skirm good H2 composition with the Fulani and the javelins. But Rohbrot behind all of this is going to age up with San Luis Potosi behind this, queuing up a couple of soldados, trying to maybe get a batch of 3. There we go. Just an initial mass before eventually he is going to revolt into Rio Grande. But I'm not even sure he's going to be doing that. Like, that's what makes Mexico so strong. Even me, I'm casting, I have a bird's eye view and I have no idea what he's going to do from here on out. Let's go on the south side. Let's see a little bit. What is the herding situation for Rohbrot? Herds are in a very good position. And from Hausa, let's see Hausa's perspective. What he's going to do. He is going to look and try and pick off a couple of units maybe at the forward base, but he can't really fight against these soldados with raiders and javelins. He really has to wait for a couple more Fulanis. There we go, 3 Fulanis there. Fulanis being shipped and being produced right now. And now he can feel more confident in trying to take down that. Excuse me, that forward hacienda. But 3 more soldatis popping out of the barrack, going to force that army to go back, and 6 soldados in total out on the floor for Rohbrot right now. Let's see what he's going to get for his age up right now from that San Luis Potosi. I think he's going to get a couple of soldados, but I'm not sure. And he can very well go into the 2 falconets or the 6 soldados, or you know, the 8 Chinako card that you can get as well. Let's close the minimap please, and let's see a little bit of the fighting going on. Very nice kiting here and drag boxing from Grogu, really picking off these soldados before they can do a lot of damage, or before they can even get in range at all of the army of Hausa. A couple more soldados being made right now, and 2 falconets being shipped in the back. More soldados coming out right now for Rohbrot. He has a grand total of, I think, 12 soldados out on the field, which will be more than enough to protect any falconets, especially with the incredible melee attack that soldados have. These raiders aren't in the numbers to really dive, and the javelin riders are 6 soldados also coming in behind that falconet shipment. Hacienda is going to go down. Barracks is going to... Oh no! Rohbrot accidentally shipped the falconets from the hacienda, and the 2 falconets go down. Oh my god, what a horrendous mistake for Rohbrot there. Oh, he must be kicking himself. That is so unfortunate for him. And he's also not moving the cattle back right now, and he's kind of forced to take a fight. If not, he will lose his forward barracks as well before the rest of the soldados come in. And oh, that just feels so bad. Rip Rohbrot's falconets. Oh my god. That is a series deciding mistake there for Rohbrot. That those falconets pop from the TC, and then you can reinforce with the 6 soldados. All of a sudden you've got a 20 soldado army with some falconets in the back, and it's so hard to kill soldado falconet. And now there's just pure soldados out on the floor that can just get kited to death by these Fulani that have more range. They've got more speed as well, and they can constantly get pull tricked by that big old cavalry army. And really, Rohbrot is on the back foot right now, trying to ship this 1,000 wood. It's just not a good day to be a Mexico enjoyer in this tournament today. Wow, wow, wow. Um, Rohbrot is going to try and make the best of it. Probably put down an artillery foundry manually. He's going to try and market trade to get a couple of falconets. But you know, the whole point of the falconets is that they need to arrive earlier when the mass is smaller. Falconets aren't that difficult for Hausa to deal with anymore in a minute from now or in half a minute from now, even when they get more batches out and when they get more units out. Even though we do have 20 soldados out on the floor, we don't even have a barracks. We can't add any more soldados. Wow. Our only hope really is to get an incredible fight that gives incredible value and somehow winning the game judged on that fight only. But if we switch over to Hausa right now, it's looking like he isn't really adding anymore. There we go. He is aging up right now to HD with Hausa. And look at the cattle situation he has. He still has so many of these original that he managed to find out on the map. Just constantly being able to trade for them at the market. 100% sell rate as well. He can just sell so much food, so much coin, excuse me. And look at how much influence these cows are trickling in as well. 0.3 influence per cow, just not and per yak. The income is absolutely insane. The eco is going bananas for him right now, and Rohbrot is going to try and push with 3 falconets and 20 soldados, trying to do as much damage as possible to Hausa before their H3 scaling kicks in. But I'm afraid he's a bit too late. I'm scared for Rohbrot that these falconets are just going to get picked off by H3 javelin riders, and the Fulanis are just going to be able to do a number on these soldados, and then he's going to be in a really bad position. But if we switch over to the Hausa perspective right now, does he already have his veterancy upgrades in? There we go. Fulani just hit the floor. Veteran Fulani. We've got the Vuvuzelas, one of the most annoying units in the game, out on the floor. The griots. Oh my god, they're horrendous. Whoever thought of them needs a serious spanking on the behind. But Falconets still managed to get some big shots off on these Fulanis. Soldados sieging that castle, that palace, excuse me, quickly before any culverins can be made out of it. But there is another palace out in the back, which can still produce artillery if you research just the tech that allows you to make it. There we go. 2 culverins already in queue right now, almost halfway through. So Grogu kind of forced to fight here, because he can't really allow that palace to go down, because the only way for him to lose this game is if this palace goes down and he isn't able to get his culverins. Rohbrot not even really focusing that palace right now, sieging the TC, which is a big mistake, because with this Soldado siege and a volley or 2 from the Falconets, this palace can go down in no time. But we're for some reason focusing on the TC, and ooh, the culverins pop out, but one culverin already gets sniped by the Falconets, and now the Falconets get sniped. One of the Falconets, excuse me, gets sniped by the culverins. We have the big fight coming in. Culverins taking another Falconet down, trying to focus the 3rd Falconet. A couple of Soldados in melee. There we go. Falconets are down now. 2 culverins still remaining. Soldados in melee, but he's facing a 1.5 rate of fire army, whether it is from the Javelin Riders or from the Fulanis. And Rohbrot calls it quits. Game 6 going to Grogu. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a game 7. Rohbrot must be absolutely kicking himself right there that those 2 falconets popped on the forward, on the forward hacienda, and they just popped forward as well, not even backwards. He didn't even have a chance to pull trick them with the soldados or anything. Very unfortunate, but Grogu did what all good players do, and he capitalized. He didn't let that mistake go unpunished, and he took the game. This series is going to a game 7, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, the final map of this best of 7 series is going to be Cascade Range, and we've already got our Civ picks here. We have Rohbrot playing as Russia, And incredibly surprising, we've got Grogu playing as Germany on a non-TP map against Russia. Usually, you would say that this matchup is quite heavily Germany favored, one of the most favored matchups in the game for Germany. But on a non-TP map, I think the edge kind of goes to Russia. Russia can pressure, can deny a lot of hunts, a lot of mines. Germany can't really go for an H3 semi like they like to. They're kind of forced to stay in H2. So I'm excited to see what this game is going to bring us. This is probably going to be a banger of a best of a game 7, and let's see if Rohbrot can avoid the comeback down from 3-1 from Grogu, or if Grogu can do the impossible and come back from 3-1 down against a very, very strong poised player in Rohbrot. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. Baron, let's shoot up that map introduction and let's get right into game 7.
Manchuria's
The Cascade Range is an inhospitable mountain range along the North American west coast. Its sparse hunts and small tin mines are complemented by an equally limited amount of fish in 2 small lakes on the sides of the map. Be quick to collect the many unguarded beaver treasures because you won't find much else.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game 7, the big one of this best of 7 series hosted by ESOC TV, the last series of the round of 32, played between on the south side of the map in the color blue, playing as Mother Russia. We have brought exciting to see what he's going to provide for us on this map. Cascade range, very low resources, very low hunt, very low on mines as well, safe ones at least. Mining is actually okay, but access to food is very, very, very scarce on this map. And on the north side of the map, we have his opponent in the color red playing as the Germans. Another exciting vanilla matchup. I love these matchups so much. I love this game. I love this community. And I love the fact that we're seeing a game 7. And I'm so happy to share it with you guys. I hope you guys have been enjoying the casting so far as much as I have been enjoying casting it. I love you all. And let's have a banger of a last game to close out the round of 32 before the round of 16 starts. So we got Grizzly, or Grizzy, the Russian explorer with the bear skin. What a beautiful skin. Um, so yeah, on this map, Cascade Range, very low value treasures as well. You know, 40 food, small coin treasures, small wood treasures, spread all around the map. I think it's a bit more advantageous for Germany to go for them, especially knowing that they like going for the early market. Um, Rather than Russia. But again, Russia can also use it quite well. Looking at the Russian deck, we have the 2 blockhouses, new card for Russia. We've got Manchu in our deck, 7 Cossack, another new card. Russia, once they hit HP, they become a very, very strong civ. They struggle a bit with tempo, but on non-TP maps, Russia is a phenomenally solid pick. It's a very good pick, very strong civ, can be so oppressive and deny map, take over control of the map, and really begin its spam. Where on the other side, if we're going to look at the German deck, I will be surprised if we won't see any mercenary outlaw play. 1v1 land, and we do not see any mercenary or outlaw play. This is quite a standard German map deck, excuse me. And I'm surprised. I'm very surprised because if we're going to look at the saloon really quickly, if we're going to hover over one of the villagers, um, oh, we can't see it on recording, sadly, but I'm sure there's a couple of outlaws or mercenaries on the map that could have turned the tides in Germany's favor. But for now, looking at how the map is set up and this matchup is set up, I would have to give the advantage to Russia. Germany aging up with the quartermaster for 400 wood. And on the other end, when we are looking at Russia, he is also aging up to the second age with the quartermaster, also 400 wood. He will be sending a couple of villagers forward, probably to take a forward base. But first, he is going to build that market. Are we even going to see any villagers going forward? Because if not, I am not liking it, Rohbrot. I think that the one of the only ways Russia feasibly loses in this on this particular map at least is by not playing aggressive, and that is exactly what Rohbrot is doing. I think my worst fear will come true for him, and he is going to try and M Falcon H3, and Musk Falk is not what you want to do against Germany, excuse me, as Russia especially not. Um, so yeah, we actually are going to see some um, action from Rohbrot, and I'm disappointed that he's doing it, but for him, that it will work out. So, switching over to the German perspective, looking like he's macroing very, very nicely. He's got ready for steel traps, kind of over macroing if he hasn't gotten, if he's gotten both of his other techs, which are hunting dogs and placer mines so far. But maybe the over macro has a reason. Maybe he wants that church ASAP as well. Seeing villagers are still on wood right now. A barracks being built because he's anticipating some forward action alongside a church. Let's see the scouting pattern of the Germans as well. Steel traps coming in simultaneously. He's really scouting and trying to look for that forward Russian blockhouse, but he isn't finding anything. So he's not really understanding what's going on. Going to go to the Russian base and try and find out what's going on right there with his explorer. Settler wagons coming in. The macro is still wood and food. And a pike batch being trained. I don't really know what that pike batch is for. Probably in anticipation of Cossacks, but Rohbrot is saying, why do I need Cossacks? I'm just going to ship 700 coin. I'm not even going to macro for my coin. I'm just going to sell some food until I've got 300 in the bank. And then I'm going to collect that 700 coin and age up to the next age, bro. I don't need anything else. And yeah, Rohbrot is just going to go H3. Very questionable decision in my opinion. A questionable decision that I, again, for the millionth time, I'm gonna say, but I do not like whatsoever. But again, maybe he's got a plan in mind. Maybe he knows that with the German tempo, Germany isn't going to be able to age soon, especially if Germany is going to be anticipating some kind of H2 aggression. And as we can see, he's going for crossbow pike in H2, which, if he knew what Russia is doing, would be completely useless. Germany would try and follow up to the next age immediately, but he's not. This is not going the way Germany thinks it's going. So let's open the line of sight of both players again. Two Ulans here trying to get a raid off. Let's see if they can manage to pick off a Viller 2. 700 coin coming in for Germany as well, so he's going to try and follow up to the next stage. But bad news, Germany. Switch over to the Russian perspective. We can see that our man Rohbrot is already clicking up with the adventurer that is going to give him 70 strelets, and he's going to ship Reformist Tsar, so he's going to go for the church card. Okay, so the church card not only gives you access to the counter dragoons, which are an age 4 dragoon unit that they get from the shipment, and also all their cav archer shipments become counter dragoons as well. It also gives you the opportunity to research all your guard and veteran upgrades for all your units for much cheaper. So the Russian church card is one of the most useful church cards out there. Grogu, realizing what's going on with Russia right now, realizing that Russia isn't playing any H2, and he really wants to make get as much value out of his H2 units as possible, while simultaneously macroing up for an age up. Rohbrot very nicely focusing PC fire and explorer fire on the Ulan and Pike and trying to take as many of them down as possible, running away from the crossbows every time they come a bit near. And yeah, Grogu is putting pressure, idling a little bit of the Russian economy. Now going to click up to the next age, probably with the XL Prince. There we go, banking on that XP from buildings that he's going to siege down. 40 XP, very nicely going his way right there. Rohbrot on the back of this, just chopping so much wood, has Gangsaw researched. Going to get that 1,000 wood ASAP to get the counter dragoons in queue already. A couple of villagers on food right there because he's almost ready to click the villager button. Needs just 5 more food at this point. There we go. Strelets popping out as well. Very nicely trying to chase away the remaining German unit. They saves his market. Now he's going to be able to queue a batch of villagers, ship a shipment. Oh, he's not, excuse me, because he's popped. But now he is going to be able to ship the counter dragoons, but he decides to first build 2 houses before he researches from the church. Excuse me, I saw that my voice kind of bugged out a little bit there. Okay, looks like it's better now. 2 falconets coming in for Russia. Germany on the other end. There we go. Counter dragoons are going to come in. Let's see what Germany's response is going to be. We're seeing skirmishers being made and skirmishers being shipped. A stable going down as well for Germany. Falconets do quite well against light infantry. So if he manages to micro it well, Rohbrot's falconets are going to get a lot of value out of their volleys. But we do still have a couple of Ulans out. It's really going to come down to Rohbrot's Dragoon micro, and Rohbrot, if we're looking at the south side of the map, is pushing forward with his army. Equal score right now because, you know, church buffs actually they overbuff, they overscore you a little bit, and we're looking at the middle of the map at the Russian army. Let's see what he currently has. He has Strelets, he has these counter dragoons, 9 of them to be precise. H4 dragoons, 300 HP, 33 attack. Very, very good, especially against the Civ like Germany. And he's also researching veteran Strelets behind that. And he's kind of hesitant with his falconets. He's not really going forward, trying to scout more with the counter dragoons, picking off a couple of Ulans. They're very nice. These are a couple less Ulans that he will have to deal with when they try and collapse on his falconets. And shipment available for Rohbrot right now, but he is house, so he isn't shipped it as of right now. But the barrage of the German base has begun. Let's see what Rohbrot will ship. He will need some kind of body block really to defend these falconets. So I'm assuming maybe 5 counter wounds, maybe even the 19 strelets, even though that's a bit more dangerous. There we go. War wagons coming in, trying to get a shot off on these falconets. Only one of them got a shot off on these falconets. Not really able to achieve much. Falconet shot on the skirmishers, missed almost everything completely. Falconet's worst unit in the game for its cost, in my opinion. I hate it so much with the amount of misfires that it has. But yeah, Strelets going forward, trying to get a couple of pop shots off on these war wagons, trying to back them off, protect their falconets. One of the falconets is already less than half HP, so falconet is really not the unit you want to be making against Germany. You really want to go heavy on that Strelet, Cav Archer, try and just force the Ulans into melee against the Cav Archers, where the Cav Archers can shine and really DPS down the skirms and the war wagons with just a billion Strelets. That's how you really want to approach it, especially with 1 pop Cossacks. But this build is not looking like it's very crisp. It's very thought out by Rohbrot. It's kind of looking like he thought of it on the fly. But yeah, economically as well, Russia has a trickle, which is around 2 vills and 23 other vills. And if we look over Germany, Germany has 27 vills, which includes 8 settler wagons, 28 now, which is going to put in like what, 6 villagers. 36 villagers last time I checked is 11 more than 25. A third better economy than, even with the overscoring of the counter, he's still down in score. Really, really bad news for Rohbrot. He has to right now. Veteran Ulan's coming in as well. I'm scared for Rohbrot that he just doesn't have a body block when eventually we're going to see a 9 Ulan and more of the free Ulans former shipments are going to be there and do a lot of damage. So we kind of need veteran as the player here. Oh, can you pause the game 1 second, please, for the ad break, Baron? All right. All right, so I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm sorry. The microphone is just... I'm trying my best. But it's not very easy. So yeah. Donate new mic for Shake. Donate it to East. Or Free Food Party, by the way. All the donations go and events that we host to keep the game alive, and we really appreciate you guys that you are putting in, and I hope you appreciate us for that by playing and casting and organizing It's for you guys. We love you all. Um, so yeah, Baron, what's the situation on the ads? Are we finishing it up? Okay. Right. Oh, I got my ad as well now. All right. Game has been paused now till the ads have finished running. Microphone looks like it's back in life. It's kicking and screaming. For me, it's done because I just had a 9-second ad. Yeah. So, all right. I think we're back. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hop right back into it. Let's get into the action. Germany moving forward with a couple of Ulans, trying to see if he can raid anything. Skirmisher mass is becoming healthier, especially with these Hessian Jaegers coming in behind. The Jaegers and that amount of skirmishers just going to absolutely wreck any Dragoon that is being made by Rohbrot. And Rohbrot is already not really known as a Skirm Goon player, and now he's got Skirm Goon trying to defend Falconets. It's just not really his playstyle. He's not as comfortable with it. But Strelets, they do trying to get in range of these skirmishers, not managing to kill skirmishers, but lowering. We have two of them quite nicely, finally managing to pick a crossbow off. That was plus 8 HP, I think. That goes for crossbows. Some more HP off the skirmishers, really going forward, pushing the agenda here. Dragging the Falconets forward with him as well. With the priest there, with the explorer, with the counter and the veteran Cossacks right now. But now that the Hessian Jaegers are in, the Strelets have to back off because they're no match. They're getting outgunned, they're getting out-teched, they're just getting out everything that has to do with any sort of power right now. War wagons are surrounding from the other side. Minutemen are being called right now. The Minutemen are body blocking the Cossacks very, very nicely. Grogu has forced these Cossacks into a very awkward choke right here. The Falconets are focusing on the Minutemen while the Hessian Jaegers in the back. The Jaegers are taking down everything else. Now moving forward, now manage for these Cossacks, taking most of the melee cavalry down. Only the counter dragoons remain, and just a handful of Cossacks. But we do have quite enough war wagons to take out these Cossacks. Falconets still alive, but the new batch of war wagons that just popped is going to focus down these Falconets. They're gonna go down. Settler wagons and villagers as well coming in to punch down the Falconets. The Falconets are somehow still alive. Strelets are doing an awesome job, and don't mind me, the Rohbrot's Cossacks have done such a phenomenal job of taking out so many of these skirmishers. One Falconet still alive, a lot of Strelets still alive, taking out the majority of these skirmishers. But 9 Ulan shipment, ladies and come in, and Strelets are not really renowned for killing cavalry, and neither is the Falconet renowned for doing that. And the 9 Ulans are absolutely going to mop the floor with these poor little Strelets. They are going to send them to their icy grave on the Cascade Range, far away from everyone. And Rohbrot decides to call it their Grogu, manages to pull off the comeback, manages to come back from 3-1. GG, well played to Rohbrot. And ladies and gentlemen, Grogu will move on to the next round of the ESOC Spring Championships. GG. All right, thank you for the donation by Vivid Plane with the sub for Shake's mic. I appreciate. My mic just loves bugging out. Like now it's working perfectly, but in the middle of a big fight, he will just bug. It's just what he does. It is what it is. But yeah, you gotta think back about that shipment point on the Hacienda. That just so unfortunate. They're just really taking all the air out of him. But this game kind of looked winnable as well. Rohbrot stuck such a good fight under the German TC, but Germany with their Ulans, they always have more Ulans than what you think they would have, and they just came in and just mopped up everything. Alvaro on the other end, very, very impressive, managing to come back from 3-1 deficit and advance to the next round. And let's check out who Alvaro's next opponent is going to be. Alvaro is actually going to be playing Optimus. So, for anyone who is interested in the next round, Alvaro is going to be playing Optimus. Phoenix is going to be playing Kevin. Ungers is going to be playing Tabin. What a banger over there. We're going to have Carbone versus Kennerboy. Frontline versus Only Boss. Ezad versus Soldier. Kainisi versus King of Osmane. And then your boy Big Shake is going to be playing Hausa. The round of 16 is looking very, very juicy and exciting. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Baron, for producing this. GG's to Alvaros and Rohbrot. Good luck to Alvaros in the next round. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Big Shake signing off. Love you all.